What's going on, you guys? So, just about 5-10 minutes ago, Nimble Giant, the developers behind the upcoming Star Trek Grand Strategy game, Star Trek Infinite, has just released their Steam page. So, it has tons of juicy material, so I really want to dive into it. I've been waiting for this game. As you guys know, for a couple of decades, I've been literally asking every developer and publisher under the sun to take on a Star Trek Grand Strategy game, and we finally have it, thanks to Nimble Giant and Paradox. Love you too. Love you guys. Alright. Star Trek Infinite is a grand strategy experience that lets you play your own Star Trek story as the leader of one of the major factions in the galaxy. Follow the specifically crafted story or blaze your own trail in the first Star Trek Grand Strategy game. I would say this is a second. First one was, I believe, Star Trek Birth of the Federation, released in '99, but hey, I'm not gonna... Alright, so... Ooh, so... has a little bit of a Stellaris feel, right? Unless this is a new tactical engine. So, just to give you guys a heads up, Birth of the Federation, that was released in '99. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to play it. It's considered abandonware, so you can actually play it, but there's a huge community behind it, which is keeping it alive with mods and modifications and maps and all this stuff. So I'll leave that in the description. And Birth of the Federation has two components. It has a strategic and a tactical. So, you know, the galaxy, and then when two fleets meet, the tactical. Your Star Trek story. With Star Trek Infinite, there's no singular way to play. Whether you wish to take the route of diplomacy, espionage, warfare, or a mix of all of these, there are multiple paths to victory. You are in command, and the fate of the galaxy is in your hands. Nice. Choose between the United Federation of Planets, Klingon Empire, Romulan Star Empire, or Cardassian Union. You will take on the role of the leader in charge of all the major decisions of your faction as the game unfolds. With each faction have their own unique styles of play, your decisions determine how successful you are in reaching your goals. So obviously Klingons are more militaristic in their expansion versus the Federation, a little bit more diplomatic. And this is Compek, I think. Star Trek Infinite has been meticulously created to provide an immersive Star Trek experience while allowing you to shape the story of your playthrough according to the choices you make as a leader of your chosen faction. As you take on the role of the Federation, you'll have the opportunity to recruit iconic captains and officers, including Picard, Janeway, Sisko, and Data, to name a few. So the first Star Trek Battle Federation did not have this. So this is very exciting. It adds a whole new layer to the game. Meanwhile, other factions offer their own set of iconic characters to enlist, such as Gowron, Makbar, Garrick, and many more. Oh, Garrick's going to be in this. So he's a spy, very crafty spy. Diverse starships. Beyond the potential cast of characters you recruit to your faction, the game grants you access to a range of starships from the Star Trek universe, tailored to each faction's arsenal, from the Federation's reliable Intrepid and Defiant class ships, the menacing Cardassian Galore class vessels, the sleek Romulan Diderix class, or even the formidable Nefvar battleships. I like that they did all the research. I love that. Of course, the Enterprise D can be developed and added to the Federation fleet through the bespoke storytelling system developed for Star Trek Infinite. I'm very curious about this storytelling system. I wonder how that's going to work out. I know this takes place a couple of decades before the next generation, so like when Picard is, you know, a young officer himself. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to play in. I'm assuming that's, you know, that's how it's going to work in, because Picard's going to be young. You know, Kirk is not going to be there. McCoy will be there. There'll be a few Star Trek original series characters that are in that time period. So they might make a, a surprise appearance. Deep and complex strategy. Star Trek Infinite is built upon the core systems of Stellaris. So a lot of people on the forums I was reading was saying this is Star Trek for Stellaris, right? And it's going to, from what I'm reading here, it's going to be built, so it's going to basically behave a lot the way Stellaris does, which is fine by me. I love Stellaris, so I was always like saying, I hope they, you know, make a Star Trek game similar to this, which they just did. Leveraging a deep and complex system and making them its own. Aspects of the systems have been streamlined and simplified to better resonate with the Star Trek franchise. Okay. Alright. So, it's going to be for... well, it's going to be for Windows. I thought it said Mac OS too. Could have sworn it said Windows and Mac. But it says the release date says to be announced, but in the numerous news items that I've read, and you know I've read them all pretty much, the developers mentioned to a couple of news outlets that it was going to be fall of this year. So I'm hoping they change that soon. Let's take a look at the screenshots. So that's a Galaxy class starship. That's Starbase. I'm assuming this is Earth right here. And then you got a couple of ships here. Okay. Very cool. Okay. So, as you guys, Stellaris fans, this should be very similar to you. Familiar for you. Nice. And then you got Deep Space Nine over there. Alright, so our first look at the GUI. So very, as you can see, very Stellaris inspired. You know, especially with all this here. Very Stellaris inspired. Kronos Empire. So it looks like, you know, they basically are combining. In Stellaris, you have these, correct me if I'm wrong, you have the galaxy, and then you can go into individual systems. So in essence, it does technically at this point have a strategic and a tactical view, because you go into the system and you can fight it out. I wonder how big the battles can be. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? I wonder how big the battles can be. Can you have, like, in Star Trek, technically, in Deep Space Nine, like, we're talking, trying to remember. There was hundreds of ships in battle, so I'm kind of curious how many you could put in here. The other thing I wanted to look at is here. It says 2347.09.30. Okay. So we know at least it starts in 2047. Now, there is something that could happen with Picard in 2047. Now, I mentioned that Picard was a young officer at this point, so we're not going to probably see him, but there's a Star Trek episode called Star Trek The Next Generation Yesterday's Enterprise, which dealt with the Enterprise C coming to the rescue of a Klingon outpost at, I think it's Narendra 3. And technically, Tasha Yar was on that ship from The Next Generation. So I'm very curious to see if that will be incorporated into the game. Romulans. Okay, so you have a mission tree. Alright. First contacts, multilateral accords, upgrade the Enterprise. Upgrade the Enterprise? Ooh. That looks like a Sovereign class ship. So the one from the movies, from First Contact. Data. LaForge, light years of experience. Oh wow, so you can get a lot of the Next Generation crew. Build the Enterprise. And then you get all these characters. Klingon warfare. Beautiful. Wow. Guys, I am so... I have no idea how long I've waited for this. No idea how long I waited for this. This is just... This has been a really, really tough year for me. Really tough year. Lost my job. There's a lot of other things going on. And, like, this really means a lot. This really helps. Alright, Mathrop VA. So, again, very Stellaris inspired. You know, I didn't play Stellaris for a couple of months or something like that, so, but I could tell straight away this is very Stellaris. It'd be kind of cool, because they said missions are going to be in this game, right? Storytelling and as well as missions. So it'd be very interesting to be like, you know, you get a pop-up, like in Stellaris, where it says, on this planet, some signal has been detected, right? And you can send the Enterprise there. Or you could send Voyager, whichever ship you want. But it'll be really cool to get that Star Trek feel to it. It's going to be incredible, man. I'm just so blown away. I'm very curious about the resources here. I'm sorry I have to kind of like do this. My eyes are just going. I'm very curious about the resources here. I think that's an apple, right? So I'm assuming that's food in the Federation. But dilithium, this is energy. Dilithium is kind of the source that powers the starship. So I wonder if that's going to be a critical resource that you have to, keep your hands on, or at least try to sort of find it out. Alright, so we know at least battles will be at least a dozen or so. At the minimum, which is good, fine by me. You got, what, 4 Excelsior class starships. What is that? Excelsior? What's behind this? No, that's Excelsior. So that's 5 Excelsior, 6 Excelsior, and 1 Galaxy. So that's a pretty big fleet. That's a fleet that got some muscle on it. And you got some Cardassians on the other side. Ooh, yeah! This is the screenshot I want to see. Okay. So you got Sol right here. You got Vulcan. You know what's interesting is the way it's presented on the map in Star Trek, if like you ever get a Star Trek map, is the way they're putting it here. So like Sol is like around this position, Vulcan's here, Andor is straight down, and then Beta Z should be somewhere right around here. But yeah, as you can see, just by the GUI, I could tell it's very Stellaris inspired. Very interesting. Very interesting. And then Klingon homeworld is going to be somewhere right around here. Wow. This is really amazing, guys. Cardassian Union, non-player Empire, major power. Yeah, so a very Stellaris inspired. 2347 still. Right? 2349, I'm sorry. Okay, and then you got the 4. You got Picard there, and you got so Spock is gonna make an appearance. Spock, I forgot to mention, Spock is another original series that will be technically existing between the original series and the Next Generation. So he's gonna be there. Who else? I'm trying to remember. Scotty's not gonna be there, I believe. Maybe he might actually, now that I think about it. Well, I'll have to do a whole in-depth kind of thing to see who's going to be available, who they're going to bring into the storylines, because it's going to be very interesting, because we know Spock, we know there's going to be a young Picard, a young Worf, young, Troy. We'll see them, and I'm assuming maybe even, have them as characters you could put on ships. Remains to be seen. So high education, diplomatic expertise, Klingons, followers of Kalis, warriors honor, central command, very cool. Oh wow, okay. Society research. So again, very Stellaris inspired. As you can see, you got the 3 things that you have similar in Stellaris. I wonder if there's going to be a tech tree, or you're going to have to do it the Stellaris way. Even the GUI for the planets and stuff like that, very Stellaris. So a lot of people on the forums were exactly right. Star Trek for Stellaris. Which, again, I'm 100% behind. I love Stellaris, and, them putting Star Trek into it. Now, somebody was mentioning there's a huge mod for it. I have yet to download it. I'm hesitant with Star Trek mods for existing games, because I feel like Star Trek needs its own feel. Like when you put like a skin of Star Trek over a game, it's not going to give you the full experience. And I'm hoping this. I'm sure that this will, but I'm going to try out that mod actually, just to compare them. All right. So 2340. Oh wow. Okay, so this is even starting way even earlier than that. Construction ship. Remus. Remans live there. More beautiful eye candy. I love the starbase right there in the background. Formidable. Oh! This is the second to last one. Okay. So, salutations, Kaim ambassadors. We represent the interests of the syndicate. I can't read, it's so small. Out leader. Our job is to find out where the interests interact with you, but how about we get to know each other? Could we interest you in a relaxing message? It's hard because my eyes are getting like shot. When you hit 40, I've noticed your body is just not where it's supposed to be or where it was. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday. I was just like, man, when I was like 20 years old, me and my friends were drinking glasses of vodka and whiskey and bourbon, and then having like endless beers. And, I would feel a buzz and stuff like that and be on the board of, being intoxicated. Now I'm like having a couple IPAs. I'm already like at the border. I'm like, jeez, my system. How would we respond? We are pleased to meet you. Intercoms are so impersonal. The galaxy is a dangerous place. Okay, so very Stellaris. I love that the map is just growing. You should notice in the first one it was smaller. This is 2363. So this is around the time of the Next Generation. I love that you have smaller empires like the Kesprit here, and then there's two other ones here that are like forming their own empire, Farian. So that's gonna be very interesting. I wonder if you can like incorporate them into the Federation. These other empires. That's another question that I have is like, so eventually, if you guys are not familiar, there's a few Star Trek episodes that dive into this way in the future, that the Klingon Empire actually becomes part of the Federation. Yeah, like, pretty big. So I'm very curious if in the when this game launches, or maybe in an expansion pack later on, that, a whole empire can kind of merge. Can you do that in Stellaris now? Curious. Alright, so you got Sol Station Shipyard. And you got the fleets here, as you can see, right? Yeah. Very cool. And then a Nefa battleship. I'm also curious if they're going to be civil wars, because the way this looks is like, hey, I'm on the other side. I'll take you all on. I wonder if they're going to be civil wars, because, Klingons are known for that. So overall, guys, I am very excited for this. I'm very excited for this. I was hoping for a trailer. I was searching the internet on their sites and stuff like that. I thought they were going to release another major trailer, but it's just the contents, which is fine by me. But again, fall is what I heard from. So this fall, which is and again, the forums were right. This is like Star Trek for Stellaris, and I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited for it. Honestly, when I was playing Stellaris, the number one thing I was just like, man, I wish somebody would make this, but for Star Trek. Numerous times I was playing with my friends, I'm like, man, I wish there was a Star Trek version of this. There will be. So, Nimble Giant, I love you guys. You won my heart. Paradox, love you guys. You have no idea how much this means to the Star Trek community. Like, we have finally a new grand strategy Star Trek game. Dreams can come true. They can happen to you. Old Nicolas Cage movie. I heard that. But guys, yeah, this is amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I can't wait. I already have a timer on my phone for the first day of fall. Because, yeah. And I'm looking forward to, hopefully they do like developer whatever posts and stuff like that, so we can get more information. So this is still going to be very interesting, guys. I'm very, very excited. Very excited. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Catch you next one. See you then.